everyone. Thanks for joining. Laura and I here today. It's Tuesday and we are deep into July, almost August. I can't believe the summer is almost gone. Sorry. So Laura is a learning and leadership development coach and consultant. So I'm so excited to have Laura here. We met at Haven, which is a co-working space in Darien. So shout out to Felicia there. She started that, and I've met some really fun people there. And Laura, we were talking about AI and leadership, and I was telling her that I'm speaking at the August 6th event. So I was like all geared up. I'm getting ready for my talk. I'm very excited. And Laura just had some great ideas. And so she said she would join us here. And first off, Laura, tell us, we were talking about AI and HR, and share with us some of your what you've learned, and what comes to mind when you think about leadership and AI.
Yeah. And I'm really excited to be here with you too, and everybody that's listening in. Like, this is my first time doing a live event.
Yay!
So I'm
I know,
learning,
right?
and thanks to you,
Cool.
Michelle, and thanks to Haven for helping set up so that we can meet and we can do these kind of things, because I think it's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see we start getting questions and all. So Michelle and I started to geek out on this whole like AI and HR and leadership and learning. And I'm kind of knee deep in it. Like, I'm trying to learn all about how HR is using artificial intelligence and generative AI and what's happening and what's changing. And then I started to spot some things that were kind of glaring at me, that were kind of scary, but also kind of interesting. But it's really an exciting time to be able to
Yes.
work alongside these AI platforms and apps and all. And I think, in some cases we're doing it, we don't even know we're doing it. But anyway, AI and HR and leadership, it's there's a lot happening. People are becoming more productive. Work is getting done faster, which is
Right.
saving money. We're
Yeah.
seeing, the ability to close gaps quicker. We see the ability to create um, top performance statistics and information about our employees in a better way that we can then craft better experiences for them. So there's a lot of work going on and a lot of experimentation, and seeing how it all plays out. But it's happening in talent acquisition in HR. It's happening in talent management, talent development, and then in the HR support, like just general HR support. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing.
Right. Yeah. I'm not in HR, but they're one of my favorite group of people. And being working in a large company, or I've worked also in like social services and small businesses. So a lot of times I would have to put on the HR hat. Um, but I just see so much possibility, and whether it's leadership, and I really believe in everyone working together. So it's not just leadership and employees. I mean, I just, all different levels, generations, can really benefit from working together, and AI really helps. And that's what's great about it. But it can be kind of intimidating, I think, for people. AI sounds kind of scary, but what I love about it is that I feel it actually helps the human in HR get back into things. And that's the beautiful, I think, thing about it. And diversity, I think it actually gives people that maybe, I mean, I'll use myself as an example, okay? I wasn't the best student. And because whatever, I had a lot going on in my life as a kid. And for me, AI has helped me because I wasn't a strong student and I had to go back to school as an adult to get my college education when I had my two kids. So yeah, I'm not the most I say not the sharpest tool in this shed, but I have a lot of like like ideas, and AI has helped me organize those ideas. So for someone who hasn't had the best, the most solid education, it helps it helps you get your foot in the door. So I'm a big um, proponent of just how it helps people.
Yeah.
Um, it
Yeah.
really it really helps you so much. So when you're looking at new hires or helping internally employees to start to get more training or more collaborative, I think that it's such a great tool. um, Now when you think about leadership, how have you seen AI really help them?
Well, it does in some cases, but there's a bit of a dilemma, right, in terms of leadership in HR. So while we see the cost benefit of AI and all that it could do for the organization,
Hmm.
leaders are still struggling with how do we manage this for our employees because employees are wanting to use it, but there are security risks, right? Like cybersecurity issues that we have to be careful as employees of corporations what we're putting into these generative AI apps in order to get, to not give away information on the company and many other things. So there's a bit of a dilemma with we want to use AI, but we don't want our employees to use it just yet in a way until we know that it's safe. And so there's a bit of under the cover stuff going on. Like employees are using AI and they're using it a lot, like over 50% of employees, according to statistics, and they're doing it in secret. They're actually even bringing their own laptops in so that they're not seeing it on the company laptops. So we really have
Or
to
your
address
phone, you got
this.
your phone, right? You got your watch, your phone, like
Yeah.
the whole thing. Yeah.
So we really have to address this and help leaders with a way forward
Mm.
to eliminate this dilemma, right? And help us move quickly and use AI to its full advantages.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So there's a lot of sensitive conversations probably that we need to have around that. I know at the leadership at the conference that's happening August 6th, the afternoon, they're going to have a lot of legalities. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm sure that will be a topic that will be covered at SHRM. So hopefully we'll come back to you and share what the lawyers have to say about it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could teach people how to do it safely. Like several large corporations like JP Morgan Chase and I think Google, Apple are starting to teach and require employees to learn about prompt engineering so they can carefully create the prompts to put in the generative AI to not give away the company secrets, right? Or to get the best results out of it that they need to. So,
Right.
so there is a way forward. It's just, how do we train? And now your learning team comes into play, right? Like how can leadership engage the learning team to start building that capability for employees?
Right, right. And there's so many software, companies that are coming out with different things. And I think that it's important too that when you sign a contract with these tech companies for them to use their software, you have to make sure that they're going to be committed with having someone coach your employees, because when they come up with new, version 3.0 or whatever, and they leave you hanging. I mean, I really believe that when you sign a contract with these tech companies, they should give you, like, I don't care if it's 2 weeks, that they will have someone that will train your employees. Um, because otherwise you're like, you turn on your computer and you're like, oh, it's a new version. Oh, I have to spend time trying to figure this out. I think that's a big thing too, that these tech companies should be, called to do.
Yeah,
Don't just put stuff out there and walk away.
right. We'll figure it out. Now, maybe early adopters will figure it out, but
Exactly.
the skeptics will might not take the time to do it, or people that are curious but not a believer yet, like they might not want to do it. So
Yeah,
again, how do you address everybody and make sure everybody understands the new version, or what the company policy is on it? There's a lot of work to do in this space, Michelle. There
yeah,
really
yeah,
is.
yeah. And I, I hate to say, but I think, in HR, there's certain things when I would put on my HR hat. Like I said, I'm not a sophisticated HR person by any means, but I was more worried about people, being careful what they say at work, or their vacation time, um, just some of the issues, having people follow what you can and cannot do at the workplace. But now with AI, it's just, it's much more complicated. So, but the nice thing is, I like to say AI can help take away the repetitive things. Uh,
Hmm.
the emails, like, come on, at work, everyone's got some kind of document that things that you say over and over again or you respond to. So now you can put it in AI and it can have an auto response for like new employees or prospects. So there's a lot of pluses that can take away the repetitive, boring stuff. So that's a great thing, and you can really have more time to spend with others. Leadership can have more time to work on training and some of the human aspects, and let AI do that boring, the boring stuff. So that's the way
The
I
board. Yeah, and also get by alleviating all those boring or mundane tasks that we can hand over to the AI, we can get to deeper thought. We can build better things. We can collaborate more. Like there's so many positives from it.
exactly. And I think that that's where leadership really has the ability to engage more with everyone else in the office, because you can't, I think it's important for leadership to do it with everyone else, right? Like, have it on the same plane. Don't be like, well, I'm management, so now I don't have to do this. I don't have to know what the latest and greatest is. It's like, okay, so you're the only one who doesn't have to do the hard thinking. Like, that's not okay. While we're dealing with change all the time, you just sit up there in your chair, and I don't think that's the right way to look at things. It's really not. It's like when we ride a motorcycle. You have a road captain, and the road captain is the one that really keeps on top of stuff. Like, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. I'm here so we can all be together on the same level. Um, and you're going to have some people that are better writers than others, and so those are what we call the blockers. So these are certain people, whether in AI or tech, they have a little more ability than the other people and the crew. And you're like, okay, but it's up to the captain and the blockers to make sure they ride together with the rest of the team. And I think it's very important that everyone is engaged in learning the new ways of doing things. Everyone feels like they're part of it. Um, so that's my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like to think it's also part of the culture that the leaders can instill. Like, how do we help everybody to be up to speed on the latest technologies, embrace it, have confidence to use it, right? Making sure like that there's a culture there that brings everyone together, like you're saying, that you see on the road when you're riding.
Yeah, and no matter what your background is, it different cultures, different ages. It's important that everyone is in the know. And I'm a big thing, and everyone who plays together stays together. So you do it together, and people have respect. And
Yeah, there's actually really no age related or generation related statistics here in general. I mean, it's good for people in the younger generations, middle and older. I have an older parent who's in their 90s and is using AI tools like Alexa to help him in the house and throughout the day, and to play music and answer questions and find things at the store. Like, unbelievable how much AI can help people
Right.
at all levels.
Yeah, and don't assume just because someone's younger that they know more either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, again, I think that that's where it opens the door for different generations, because then they have more time to work together and bring their experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because we are having leadership. A lot of people are going to be, baby boomers are going to be retiring, right? Um, but you want to make sure, you're like, well, okay, well, how do we not lose all that experience that someone older has? Well, with AI taking care of some of the boring, repetitive stuff, then a company can make more time for that merging of ideas and experience. And younger people actually, they want more feedback than older people. I forget what the stat is, but I have the stat somewhere on that for my. But yeah, younger people want more communication than older ones. Older ones were kind of like we know, but younger people who have been through, COVID, I think too, of not having it hands on, and now a lot of young people when they come in the workforce, they're just jammed. They're like, okay, here, just go through your courses, do the online course, and that's it. We'll see ya. And that's kind of sad because as an older person, we didn't get that. Like we got interaction. We had interactive relationships with people. And I think that really builds a culture.
Right. That's where like the human is really important. I mean, I could ask AI, "Hey, I want to have a conversation with my manager about a specific topic, and here's my approach. What do how can you help me refine this?" But that's like it's a computer generated response. I maybe want to talk that through with a person to
Exactly.
really get to the crux of what I'm trying to say with my manager.
Right. Right. Yeah. And then you really start to learn more about each other. And if I don't feel that I can count on you in my foxhole at work, I you, sorry, but I'm not going to stick around. Like my
Yeah.
manager, I have to feel that I can feel that he's going to watch over me in the foxhole. If not, then sorry, dude. There's only so much so much I'm going to stay here. and but we put so much time and effort and care, and if you want people to, people are looking for work. I think you want to feel that someone cares about you as a person, and until they hear your story, stories. You and I were talking a lot about stories, and whether you're a new person looking for a job, an opportunity, um, share a passion, um, or you're already with a company and you're growing and you want to retain and bring people that are already in the company, and keep them and move them up and feel that they let them feel that they have somewhere to go. Stories are great, and that was something you and I were talking about. I'm big on storytelling. So how do you feel about AI and storytelling?
Oh my gosh, it's a game changer, right? I can put all of my thoughts
Use.
into the AI platform and ask it to help me create a story with it. Now it won't be perfect, right? But it'll start to be my collaborative writing partner in how I want to develop my story. And so we're using it for so many reasons, but I'm actually working on a course right now that uses it for performance reviews, right? So think about it. You have your goals, you have your challenges that you go through to meet those goals. You have the outcome of like, what are the results? Well, sometimes it's really hard to articulate that for yourself and put it in a performance review application or tool, or even just share it with your manager. But what if you were to collaborate it with AI on it and say, hey, help me develop a story around this? So, the course I developed is going to be available in September. It's all about that, and using it safely. Like, how can you use it safely? Just as you would maybe writing a resume, right? Working on your resume and using AI to help you draft your resume.
Yeah, I mean, Hey, storytelling. I have a certificate in both oral and written, but it takes a lot of work. I know when I first start working on a story, it it takes work. Like I have to tell the story to multiple people, and I work through it. And then I'll also share my stories with other storytellers, and it takes some months to get a story where you want it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but AI has definitely, it can't replace your stories, your experiences in life, but it helps you to structure it, which is very helpful. So I love your idea, and I can't wait to hear more about your course. We'll have to chat more about it, because storytelling and sharing your life experiences. I think also when you're what do you call it? Cross, I don't know, not training, but when you're working with people from different backgrounds, it's our stories that help us relate to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So when I talk about diversity and inclusion, or different generations learning to work together, it's really about learning each other's stories and uplifting each other too.
And learning from each other's stories, right? The ability to accomplish something given the goals, the challenges, etc. And how did they accomplish that? Like I could learn from you and you telling me that story, Michelle.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's
It's
important.
powerful. It's
It
very
is.
powerful.
It is. It's. I think if we learn to not talk at each other, people always use the word vulnerability. Vulnerability. It's like, okay, I'll show up without like doing my hair, my makeup, whatever. And people take a picture like, oh, this is vulnerable. I'm like, yeah, but you're not really like sharing who you are. Um, and hey, that's when I share stories, they typically are stories about my, some experiences or where life wasn't so pretty. Um, but when you share it and when you formulate your stories and organize it, it's definitely something that helps other people feel like they're not alone. And when we look at, loneliness, uh, we see what can happen. I would say people can implode or explode when they are left alone, and kind of outcasts of community. And that's a very bad place, as we have seen in the news. Most times when I hear something about a shooting, I'm like, well, look at their background. They're probably very alone. And
Yeah, that I mean, this is where, in AI too can help. Like, I have a podcast also called Women's Career Mastery, and it's been
right.
around for 2 years. And I started it because I thought it was a way to help women in their careers. Um, and I didn't see anything like it out there. I'm a podcast junkie. I've learned from listening to everybody's stories on podcasts. Like I like to think Brene Brown, Adam Grant,
Yes.
Simon Sinek are my best friends because I listen to every episode they've done. And I'm by myself, but I'm learning. And then, the apps like Spotify or Apple iTunes gets to know me. What am I listening to? And it says, hey, maybe you want to try listening to this too. And so you just open yourself up to so much more. And hearing the stories, I hear this all the time about my podcast. Like people say, I thought it was just me. I thought I was the only one struggling with this issue at work. And I'm so glad I listened to the episode and realized it wasn't just me. Like the stories that we all tell about our career challenges and how we overcome them are really empowering.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I'm one myself who has worked in different fields, nonprofit, profit, and I learned so much about. I think that's and volunteered a lot. I think
Hmm.
volunteering is very important, in our communities, because you're just giving. You're not You're there just because you want to give, and you learn so much. I know I learned all about, my listening skills. And now it's a, big thing that people talk about. But I was taught through a program at church, like Stephen Ministry, and that's where you show up for people. And I went through 50 hours of training, and it helped me in the workplace, to be able to listen to others and just let them, if they need to, repeat the same thing over and over sometimes, because they're going through something. It could be a divorce, a death of a loved one, um, a job change. There's so many things in our lives that we grieve over. Uh,
Right.
yeah. So,
And the whole thing about volunteering too. So I work in organizations with learning and development. And one really good way to learn AI, if you're not used, not, you don't know what it's all about or you're not sure how to use it, is to get on a team and start learning while you're volunteering to work on a project team that may be building a large language model for an AI platform. I did that. I didn't even realize it at first, but I was writing content that was then going to be put into an LLM, and I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. Like I didn't, really wasn't sure what it was about, but then it was for like an HR services thing. So employees would then type questions into the AI chatbot or the AI platform, and my answers were coming up because I wrote that content. So like I learned that by doing it, by volunteering to be on a project and doing it. So there's ways to do that in companies. I know there's a lot of initiatives going on to help build AI capabilities, and so get on the bandwagon with that. Get out there and volunteer.
yeah, yeah. And work in teams. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's very important, that you work on certain projects and put someone who's has a different, maybe you see them as having very contrasting background. Um, and I think that's why I say those that play together stay together. I think it's not about having to sit on the computer for hours and click. The training you have to do every year. It's like, it's really about engaging with other people. I think that
Right.
is the best way. Um,
Right,
because,
and using the AI is just your another buddy, like just another person, another tool that you can use to help you along the way.
yeah, yeah, and leadership too. It helps
Hmm.
them connect. But it's all how you look at something. There's pros and cons to everything. There's nothing perfect. AI is not, it's not the thing that's going to solve everything. And yes, some jobs will go away because of AI. Yeah, I think that's one of the big things that's hard for people. But every time there is something new, I don't care if it's the train or the airplane, um, you know, things will go away, and but we are adaptable, and we have to want to, kind of learn new skills. So
Right. This it takes a lot of career planning, but looking at where you are today, what are your skills, what are your capabilities, and where do you want to go? What direction do you want to go? How can your skills you have today transition, and how can you build the new skills? Volunteering is one way, but like there are many ways to do that, and staying on the forefront of technology so you're not left behind. So you're not one of the people that, loses their job.
right, right.
Yeah.
So, when you work with leadership, do you feel, how are the in general? I'm not looking for an exact stat, but in general, how do you feel they're comfortable? How comfortable do you think many of them are with, um, new technology?
Depends on the level of leadership.
Hmm.
If you're, serious high C-level executive, you may not be doing hands-on technology work all the time, because you're leading teams, right? You're leading an organization, but you need to understand what the technology can do, its capability, and what might be needed or be best for the corporation to use. So you have to have like you have to be digitally savvy in order to understand what these tools are and what they can do for your business. You can't be ignorant about it. And then if you are like mid-level management, you might be interacting more with the technology and supporting your employees on learning the new technologies. If you're in learning and development, you're building training to help upskill people to use the technologies. So it just depends on what level, but at the very least, everybody needs to understand what it is and what it can do.
Right, 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 right. Yeah.
You know?
Um, I think if someone can't relate to what challenges someone else is going through, there's a disconnect. So it is important that leadership um, has some comfort level with technology. I totally
Yeah,
agree. I totally agree. And that's why it's key for people to stay engaged with each other and enjoy the ups and downs and the challenges that come on.
yeah, and it's not just for technology companies, right? This is for every company,
Oh,
small, medium, large. You need to
totally.
understand it. You need to
Yeah.
leverage it.
Yeah. And even be open to it. I know in
Hmm.
the past when I had a manager that he was just like, okay, maybe I'm not doing this, but can you show me? He wanted to be educated. He's like, I know I don't have to do this all the time. I know you do this for me, but I appreciated that he wanted me to show him. So it was like kind of like, in case you're not around, I can do this. And I was like, great, because I was very much always, I'm like, okay, it's Friday. I'm going to ride my motorcycle. So I'm always like, everything is in place before the weekend. That's just how I am. But it's nice when someone shows an interest in what you're doing. That means it makes you feel that it's valuable.
Right.
What you're doing for the company is valuable when your manager, your C suite executive, for me, wanted to see, Michelle, can you show me this or that? This is an important thing.
Right. And I mean, almost everybody is touching AI today. I mean, I don't know if you don't have a cell phone, maybe not, right? But if you have a cell phone, definitely, you're using your Siri or your, apps to help you, your GPS even. Google Maps has AI. I mean, it's in a lot of the things that we have on our cell phones. It's on streaming devices like Netflix, right? Like there's AI behind Netflix. Like it's again looking at what I'm watching and then it's making recommendations for me. So maybe you don't even know that you're using it, but you are. It's
Right, right,
and and employees are too. And so, kind of all getting on the same page like you're saying and understanding the value and the value that everybody's bringing to it. It's really important.
right, right. Yeah, and I think it leaves you, like, again, I say, it can leave you time, but you have to take the time, make the time to do the human things too. Because let's say my ways, if I depend on my ways all the time, it's like I'm dumbing myself down, right? So one of the best road captains that I ride with, he doesn't need a GPS. Like, he knows general directions for like what routes go which way, and then he'll say, okay, we're going to go in this general direction. I know at some point it'll meet up with that. So leadership, it's important that, yes, technology will help take care of the basic stuff, but only leadership can make it a priority to do things on the human
Yeah.
level, and that's what keeps people.
Oh, yeah. Like if you implement AI and HR to answer employees' everyday questions, the questions you get all the time: where do I submit my vacation? Where do I get my health benefit forms? Like all those questions. Great. takes a lot of that everyday questioning out of, the minds and the productivity of people. Don't need to do that anymore. But it doesn't mean you stop meeting with employees. So maybe now you could do more roundtables, more all hands meetings, more go out, meet and greet people where they are, where they're working. You could spend more quality time with them.
Exactly, exactly. And who, um, sometimes I found, and especially when I worked in when big companies, I find that sometimes the more people you have, the wider the reactions are, or behaviors of people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that the positive thing about AI and technology is it gives you that time where you can connect more with people and see, hmm, when you have dialogue with people one on one in the office, I think that's important. Um, to say, you know what, I think maybe this person might be able to be supported by this program or this conversation. So, one example is for me, like death and dying. Okay, so I have a death doula. I would come online. I would come on LinkedIn, do live talks about what I was learning, because I felt that it's something that people don't talk about, but it happens more and more. And when we don't know who to talk to. And I'm sorry, you can Google up stuff, but it's not the same as a conversation with someone,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you have a loss. And people that are working remote, they're they're really alone when they're going through this stuff, and they can hide behind that too. Um, but it's nice to feel that leadership or someone who's near you can have an intelligent conversation, or close their mouth and listen, and offer you solutions or a place to go. And I just think that's helpful. The human.
Yeah. So we're emphasizing like AI is great, lots of advantages, some disadvantages, but the one big advantage is we get more time to be with other humans. Like we get to spend quality time with other people, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And
So
that's all HR used to be, and we kind of lost it, I think.
yeah.
So if we can get it back, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, I mean that's why I say HR people are like my favorite. Like I just love them. They're human. They're real. They're cheerleaders, and they have huge hearts, um, and they deal with a lot of crap too. Like you have the managers, you have the other employees, you have the corporation. So it's a heavy job. I give them so much credit. So um, I'll be able to spend a lot of time with them. They're wonderful people, and hopefully I can bring some levity to to the event, and learn a lot. So Laura, I appreciate you coming on and kickstarting everything off for us. And was there anything else that you wanted to
My
share
pleasure.
up
No,
for
I thank you. This has been great. I really enjoyed the conversation with you. I think we, brought in so many different ways to look at it and think about it. And that's what I really love about you, Michelle. That's why we connected when we first met you.
you? Oh, and one other thing too, the sources. I'm going to put in the chat here some of the resources that you
Yeah,
mentioned. Let's say, there we go. I just put them in the chat. Can you see them in the chat?
I can. Yeah.
Okay,
These are
nice.
really good resources for helping you with your resume, whether you're putting one together for leaving a company for an external job or an internal job, even. But starting to use AI to help you do that. Some really good tools.
Yeah, Udemy is really good too. I was afraid about Udemy. Like I have a whole list of stuff there. Some stuff I've completed, some I haven't, but very cost effective. It's a great resource. So thank you so much for these resources. I love that. And we will listen to you on your podcast. What was the name of your podcast?
Women's Career Mastery.
Women's Career Mastery. All right. So we will hear from you on that. Until then, Laura, thank you. And I will see everyone else hopefully on August 6th. If you can make it, please join us. It's downtown Stamford. And cocktails start at 4:30. Now I'll be on at 9:45, but I can get my cocktail on at 4:30 and come party with the HR people. And anyone's welcome. I will list on my LinkedIn. You can see the link. But come down, join us. Hopefully you're around August 6th. And Laura, I will see you at Haven and be hearing you on your podcast.
Thanks, Rochelle.
All right. Take care. Have a great day, everyone.